Welcome to another episode of Jewish Midlife. Hi, I'm Devara Kresniansky, and today I'm thrilled to have Michelle Freedman, an empowerment lab coach, to talk about loving our midlife. Join us as we dive into adding more purpose and fun to our midlife. We explore bucket lists and anti-bucket lists, dreams, the excitement of new hobbies, adding new things into our lives, from small changes like trying new foods to larger like picking up new hobbies. And a key point we touch on is that our lives are only as expansive or interesting as our comfort zones. So by intentionally stretching those boundaries, we can incorporate more joy and more experiences into our lives. We also discuss the value and importance of meeting people regularly, as these interactions can open doors to fresh opportunities and perspectives. We share lots of ideas for having fun and expanding in our midlife. Enjoy the episode. So Michelle, I'm really excited about our conversation. I so enjoyed our conversation before. So let's just jump right into this. I'm excited to see where we're going to go with this. So before we start, let's just talk about what you do in general.
Okay. I'm what I call myself an empowerment life coach. And I specifically work with women over the age of 50. So it's 50 plus is my specific niche. I work in all the different areas that go with it. I take a very holistic approach to what I do with my clients. So they may come with one specific problem, but we look at all the different areas, and then we work to having a plan and an action in place so that they know where they're going and how they're going to get there. So that is basically what I do. I'm a very practical person, and I'm also very much a visual learner. And I bring both those aspects into my coaching, in the sense of I like my clients to not only just see an exercise or see a graph or something of that nature, but to actually, for homework, for example, give them an exercise to do, so that they actually absorb it and really understand it, and then can use that tool going into the future in any other scenarios that may come up in their lives.
Okay. So what do we see happening for some women in midlife? What are they coming to you with?
At the moment, strangely enough, I'm getting a lot of women who are either thinking of retiring or who are who've just retired in the first year or so of retirement. And what I'm noticing is those who've come to me before retiring actually understand what retirement means. And it's not just, great, I don't have to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning anymore. I don't have to rush to the office or to work, wherever it may be. And I'm under the pressures of having that. And I have time for myself, and I have time to read that book or be with family or friends or whatever it is. And what I'm finding is that because they understand what is retirement and what it means, we come together, and it's much easier to work with those women because they have the full understanding already. So we can cut down on our time together quite considerably. And then we don't have to go through all the scenarios beforehand. And then we come up with a plan of action for them. And they understand that when you retire, it's not just saying, okay, fine, I no longer have to work and everything like that, but I'm still getting an income, whether it's coming from a pension or from investments or whatever it may be. But also what is happening is that these women really understand that they have to have a purpose going forward. And what is that purpose? Is that purpose to start a new hobby? Is it that purpose to start exercising more and taking more care of themselves? Is that purpose to start a new career? Because it's very interesting that some of them actually want to start something new when they don't have that pressure of financial issues on their head, and they have the opportunity to be more creative or more diverse in their interests and do different things. So it's very, very interesting to see where it goes. Those women who have already retired very often come to me because they're getting depressed, they're starting to feel sick, they don't know what to do with their time, they seem to be just wasting time during the day and don't feel fulfilled. And then we have quite a lot of work to do in that area, but it's great work. It's wonderful. I love it.
Sounds very fulfilling for you.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's very
So
much
let's
so.
talk a little bit about what people might do as they either retire or maybe cut back some of their hours so that what is like a next step of what things that people can be doing in midlife when we were busy with our children and are building our careers or building our businesses or whatever it was, there was less time. And now that people are either finding more time because they're not taking care of their little kids anymore or because they are cutting back hours, what are some things that people are doing? Let's give some ideas to our listeners.
It's interesting because of the internet and because of what's available in the way of opportunities and things like that. If you have a very much of an open mindset, then a lot of people will look at the internet and try and explore different things, different avenues, and see what's out there. Because sometimes you may say, okay, I'm into art, but there's so many different mediums of art in itself that that in itself is huge. It could be trying something completely new, like learning all about plants so that you can start gardening, which you've never had time for before. It could be in a myriad of different ways. It could be learning something new from the point of view, just for the fun of it, of learning the history of I don't know, whatever it may be, or learning how to do something. So, and because of the internet, we have a huge amount of courses available to us that are actually for free or cost very, very little money. So you can go and do a course that may have like 12 hours of videos or something to do in your own time, and come away with some kind of knowledge.
Okay, so that's something like some learning or learning
Yeah,
about a new hobby, but and then of course taking on the new hobby.
correct. So it's taking on a new hobby. It's exploring what else I enjoy, what else I love to do, kind of thing. So this is where I would come in and work with the client, is to try and find out what other things would you love to do? What would you do with your time if money and family pressures, etc., were not on your shoulders and you had no problem with anything? What would you do with your time? Some people say it would be volunteering. Some people say it would be um, exercising more, or taking care of themselves more, or having the opportunity to read for a change because they don't normally have time to read a book or to get into reading. Some may say that they actually want to write and tell their life story or tell something about something that interests them. So in many, many different ways, it comes in a multitude of different ways. But it's very interesting to see where this is going to lead, because very often when they come in with one perception and they leave with a completely different perception at the end and different action to take.
So
So
I love all those ideas. When I work with women, we also talk about where are you going to bring more people into your life? Because when you're working, you maybe have those colleagues or your clients, and if you don't have that built into the structure, want to make sure that you actually still have people in your life. So volunteering
absolutely.
would do that. But like if you join a writing circle, if you want to write, then join a writing circle because writing could be a very solitude activity, but you do still need people in your life. And I think that is
That's a very, very important factor that you just brought up about having people in your life. Because very often what happens, and this is where I see it, especially if a woman has been in a position of authority in work, like a manager or team leader or something along those lines, and all of a sudden they're no longer working, and then they don't have that sense of empowerment around them, in the sense that they are in charge, they have the authority, they've got people, they're interacting with other people all the time, and they lose their self-esteem and they lose their self-confidence. And then when you don't have the people interaction, as you say, it becomes a huge problem. So it's all very well to say, okay, fine, I'll exercise at home and I'll do the YouTube video on Pilates or yoga or whatever it may be. It's important to encourage them to go out. So maybe it walk with a friend, or go and join the gym, or take a yoga class, or something like that, where you are with other people. And it's changing that whole mindset around where am I going and what is the whole big picture of retirement look like.
the other thing that I find is that when you go have a hobby, many times there are groups around that hobby, or
Yes,
you could do the hobby at home, but join the group for the ideas, but also for the social. And I think that, and you'll find new people for your life that are around at least one of your interests. So there's ways to make new friends. And I think that if we have more time, we might have more time for friendships. And where we can find those friendships are in these areas of, I don't know, let's say a gym is an easy, or exercise class is an easy one. But around, let's say you're into flowers, join the local botanic gardens and learn more about flowers there. A weekly course in person, and as far as flowers, I think touching them and creating them and learning each other's ideas is a great way, because you both are interested in flowers, or all of you are interested in flowers. So
I agree. I agree. It's very important to have that social interaction, and it may sound strange, but also um, we need friendships. We need our girlfriends, because it doesn't matter what age we are, but particularly when it gets into retirement age and older, because what happens is that very often we find ourselves alone. You know, our kids are now grown up, and in a lot of cases they're busy leading their own lives. They've left home. They may have children themselves, and so we don't have the same people don't have the same need on us, and there's not the same demand on us as there has been in the past, which is also great if we, the kind of people that love giving and love doing for others. But we also need to take care of ourselves, and having a friend around us, or having friendships as a whole, that interrelationship is very, very important, because then you can share things with, you can talk to people. Kids don't, adult kids are busy trying to create their own lives and very busy with their own lives. They don't want to hear about your back pain, or about things that, the frustration you had at the bank, or whatever it may be. And here you can talk to a friend about those kinds of things. And friends are having similar experiences as you are. So therefore, they can share their ideas and their solutions to problems and things of that nature. So it creates that bond, which is so important, particularly at retirement age and older. And I find that there are many social circles, there are many kind of support groups and things like that around. And it's great when you can do that. Even if you have 2 or 3 people that are just meeting on a regular basis, whether it's going for coffee morning or something along those lines. And I think that is a fantastic idea. I recently heard about a group of women who go and explore different coffee shops in the area, or in the areas around where they live. And they meet once a week. And if one can't come because of whatever, it doesn't matter. All the others meet, and they meet once a week, and they have fun together, and they go and explore the different coffee shops, and this one is better than that one, and the service was great here, and then whatever it may be. And it's incredible how the bond is there between these women, and how it's growing. And more people are hearing about them. Or can I join? Or can I come and be a part of it? Or where are you meeting next week? And it makes such a difference, because then you're building new friendships along the way. So it could be from just simply saying, letting it be known that, I'm interested in flowers, or I want to go and look at different coffee shops, whatever it may be, and just asking 1 or 2 people to join you, and you never know where it can lead.
But I also heard there is, I do it every week. They schedule it, they calendar it, and because otherwise somehow these things, if they're not calendared or if they're not scheduled, it becomes like, when I have time, and then
Right.
you have to make sure that because it's with somebody else, you have to make sure that both of your times, or all 3 of your times, work. But if you schedule it that it's every Tuesday morning from 9 to 10, and it's really over at 10, unless someone wants to linger, then it could really happen if you really have it scheduled in the same way that you would have had anything else scheduled.
Correct. It becomes a commitment, and because it's a commitment, it pushes you to get out the house and go and do that. So therefore you feel, I can't let her down, or I can't let them down. And so the result is that you push yourself to get out the house, which is great, because very often, some people will say, I don't feel like going today. It's too hot, it's too cold, it's too this, it's too that. And as a result, they don't do it. And then they feel guilty about themselves. And then there's all this mind talk comes in. Whereas if they have to say, okay, fine, I'm meeting her at 10 o'clock or 9 o'clock, I've got to be there. So I have to get up by 8. I have to get going. I have to move myself and get there on time. And really, very often they come back and feel much better for having had that hour of interaction with somebody.
And interaction in person, not on Zoom, which, you could have like a schedule. People are waiting for me on Zoom, but there's nothing like meeting for coffee and not just holding the coffee cup, but actually meeting for coffee together and then ending with a hug or just like holding each other's hand, like that whole touching real live people. There's nothing like that, which you can't, it's not about so much the conversation, it's the energy in the space that's created with you. So I think it's really important to
I think
find your local people. It's great to have your friends from all over and your family from all over, but your local people. And if you moved, find your local people.
I agree. And I think it's just so, so important. It really is. And also, you meet new people that way because so-and-so knows somebody else who you don't know. And then all of a sudden you find that there's a common connection somewhere along the line. And, the person who introduced you cannot meet next week, but it doesn't matter because the two of you can now meet. So you're still having that interaction with other people, which is so important, and you're building your social circle, which is huge.
Right. And I think that people think that the internet is so easy. We can just hop on. I mean, you and I are talking, you're in Israel, I'm in Miami. So like it's so easy. But it is, and it's like so quick. As soon as we wanted to start talking, we talk. I didn't have to drive anywhere. I didn't have to park, which is a thing in itself. But I think that there's trade-offs. And I think that the being with people is so important. Being like with people in person. And yes, there's a drive there and there's parking and it may rain and whatever it is, but it's all part of it. And there's so much more benefit from meeting in person. And I think that I want to stress that one more time.
I agree 100% with you. And I actually even saw it this morning I run a group called Steel Sisters, which is a Facebook group for women over the age of 50. And normally we've, up to now, from January until now, we've been meeting on Zoom. And today was the first day that we had our first face-to-face meeting where we took an activity and we did it together. And the connection was amazing. It was absolutely amazing to see. And I saw two women who discovered that they lived near one another, which didn't know before when they were on Zoom and didn't know that. And I saw them taking out their phones and exchanging phone numbers, which is great because then it means that they're going to make connections. And I heard the one say to the other, okay, well, we'll be in touch and we can go for coffee at that coffee shop that we spoke about earlier. So this is the point, is that you never know where you're going to meet somebody and where you can have a connection and build a really great friendship with them. And that person could be, incredible support for you and somebody to laugh with, somebody to enjoy things with. The interaction is so important. And as much as Zoom is fantastic and we get a lot out of it, and things like what you and I are doing right now, we would not be able to do if we didn't have. The face-to-face, as I call it, that interaction is vital. It's vital.
And I think it's great that's a conversation. It's just like, but also like exploring new things and hearing new perspectives. So what I'm really into right now with the women that I work with is just try it. Just try new things. Just to, you may end up liking it, but if not, at least you expanded yourself. You tried something new, or you had something on your list that, okay, maybe I'll try. And now you tried it. So first of all, you check something off your list, but so maybe I don't like it and take it off the list. You don't have to try things that I pretty much think I'm going to like. I think exploring just for exploring's sake is fun, at least for many people. And it's also good for our brains, which, yes, there's that midlife thing with our brain fog and such, but trying new things and coming in with a beginner's mind or a learner's mind, knowing that you don't know it, kind of makes you ask more questions, and asking questions means you're talking to somebody, not Googling it necessarily, but talking to someone. And that whole thing of exploring new things is very exciting. And you never know what you're going to bring into your life and who you're going to meet and what new opportunities. But if you don't try new things, then more likely these opportunities and these new people won't be coming into your life if you just stay home. So I think reading and things is wonderful, but trying new things that expands your horizon, I think, is very important for us at this stage, really at any stage, but especially at this stage.
I agree with you 100%. And it's vital that you get out of the house, every day or most days, at least 5 times a week or something like that. Because of just from a mental perspective, from an emotional perspective, as well as obviously from a physical perspective, if you're going for a walk or something along those lines. But also if you're just getting out the house and you see the world in a different way. And it's not just behind your four walls all the time. And it really opens up the mind, it brings in new stimulation, and it creates new opportunities because you never know who you may meet. It may be in the supermarket, it may be in a store, it may be anywhere. And you never know where friendships can come along from.
And I
So,
think it's
so
not only about the friendships. I think it's just expanding our mind. But I want to add, like, if you walk every morning, I think that's wonderful. But I think what I'm specifically talking about is things outside your routine. Like, yes, you're getting out of your house, and yes, say you are walking every morning, and you
yeah,
might meet somebody or may not because everyone's walking, and whatever it is, you're not really looking to meet someone necessarily when you're doing your exercise walk. But I think that the idea of doing something beyond your normal. So if you have every morning you go walking and then you work from home or you do whatever it is at home, I'm talking about beyond that. Try something new, or on your walk, slow, like maybe not slow down physically, but be more of a noticer. So just that you're bringing something new into your life, something big, something small, something intentional, but just the idea of noticing the world, even noticing your own neighborhood. I mean, the seasons change, new things, new people put new things in front of their house or whatever it is. Just slow, like notice the world and get new ideas from someone else's garden. I mean, even if you're not a gardener, just the colors. It's just so, just it opens our world, and
it
it's
does.
so exciting.
Well, I love to teach. One of the things that I really practice a lot of is mindfulness. And this, what you were talking about is exactly that. It's becoming aware of where you are and of your surroundings and what's going on in your life and where things are in the area or whatever. And it's listening. And I always say to my clients, look at the five senses when you're in a new environment. And so you can absorb and you can really internalize everything that you've seen around you, and then you become more observant of things around you as well. Because very often you can say, oh, I had a conversation with so-and-so, and you said to them, well, what were they wearing? I don't know. I don't remember, because you don't become aware of that. You were like so focused on the conversation. And it's just understanding and seeing things around you, which makes a very big difference. I want to go back to the point that you made about trying new things. I think this is a very, very important factor. And I think it's something that a lot of people get to a point where they're too scared to try. Well, what happens if I fail? What happens if I don't like it? What happens if it's not what I think? But using what you said was just try it. You never know what can happen. You may find that, you know what, I had this dream of doing this, that, and the other. And then when I actually tried, I think, oh, you know what, it's actually nothing like what I thought it was going to be. And I really don't want to do it. You can let go of that and then look to explore what other new things that you could be trying. Because you realize that, especially at this age of our lives, this stage of our lives, failure is not a big thing. It's not a terrible thing to do that, because you just say, okay, fine, you know what? That didn't work. What does work? How can I change it? What can I do instead? And look at the different things. And this dream may not be the right one, but something else may be. And by trying new things and exploring new things and getting out and doing new things, you can see a completely new, different world of opportunities out there.
And I don't think failure is a bad thing. I wouldn't even call it failure. It's just part of exploring, part of experimenting. Experiments
Well,
don't fail. Like, it's just part of trying something out. Does it fit? Does it not fit? I don't think it's a failure. Even if you put a lot of hours and even some money toward it and it doesn't work out, there's something that you got out of it. At the very least, you found out that you don't like it and you can take it off your list. But there's
exactly.
something that you got out of it. And it's never, I don't think that trying a new hobby is really a failure. Trying, making new, trying out a friend. I don't like to say the way it sounds, but meeting people and it doesn't really turn into a friendship. I don't think that's a failure. It's just is. And I think that the whole idea of people being afraid to try something new because what if it doesn't work out? Don't want to feel like I wasted my time on something that doesn't become my new hobby or my new friend or my. I think we're not wasting time. Time in an experiment is not wasted time. I think that it's all valuable time, and there was
I,
something out of it. Maybe not something big that it's going to be in your next book or on your next whatever it is, but I think that just trying things out at the very least expands our brain, and we need that at this age, and just it just opens us up for new things. Just opens our brain that hey, and if it didn't work out, hey, see, I could continue living with even if it didn't work out.
I agree. I agree. And I also think that it's also, it allows you to explore things and to see, well, where am I today? Because I may have had a dream when I was in my 40s and now I'm in my 60s, and it's a completely different thing because things have changed. My life has changed, whatever it may be. So it's looking at things completely differently as well, and understanding that you are not the same person you were when you were younger, and who are you today and where do you want to go from there. So then it's exploring all those new opportunities and trying those new things to see where it's going to lead, and saying, okay, what I loved then is not what I love now. It could be something like loving sewing, and then finding, oh my gosh, I haven't got the time or the patience or whatever to start threading needles and doing this kind of stuff anymore. It's not what I want to do, but I do want to do something else. I may want to start to learn how to knit or how to crochet, or how to do some kind of like ribbon embroidery or something different, something completely different. So it's exploring who are you today, and trying all these different opportunities and trying these different things and meeting these new friends and getting out and doing all these different activities. It's creating the you today. And this is the important thing.
Right. And I also think that taking things off the list that, everyone has, like, they talk about the bucket list, but I think we can
Correct.
also talk about the anti-bucket list, things that I'm not going to try. Like I tried it, I know that I don't want it. Like just take it off the list. And, but some things we just have to take off the list, or we can look at our bucket list and say, hey, I have this on my list. I ought to try that so that I know if I liked it or want to do that instead of just having it on a list. And so I think that just do it in some version of it.
Doing it. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's very important. Just doing it. It's a great way of putting it. For
Just
sure.
do it. And Nike says it, but just do it. And then you'll move from there, or you'll learn from that I want to tweak it in some way. Maybe not try something entirely different, but maybe there's actually new, like do you have an idea that you were holding on to for a while, and now there's new nuances to it with new technology or new materials and new things to try that maybe 10 years ago when you were trying art, those art medium weren't available. And
Correct.
so it's just, and I think that looking into other people's hobbies, just poking in, ask, could I join you for a day and see what it's about? Just asking questions, even if you don't want to necessarily do that, but just hearing why they're so passionate about it. It just makes it just opens us up. And I think that sometimes we just got so busy with life that we're just looking for our next whatever it is. So just open ourselves up and try new things, just that keeps us open.
Correct. I think it's so important to do that, and to sort of like allow new ideas and new information to come in as well. And then saying, like this, what I had on my bucket list, is this really realistic or not? Is it really what I want to do today? And that's why I say it's like exploring who am I today, and then creating maybe a new bucket list of what really is realistic for you today.
Right. And I think we can start with, I mean, not necessarily start with, but the clothing that I have, is it really who I am today, or is it just the clothing that I just always do? What colors do I want? Are there new colors that I wanted to try? Or is there a new article that I want to try? Just always thinking, or new foods. There's so many new foods, or whether they're healthy or not, but I think we can move to, there's so many healthy foods, or so many, like all these fusions. You can go with Asian fusion, which if you never tasted, just be brave. Some things are going to be a bust, but some things are going to be wow. And some things I'm glad I tried it, won't do that again.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
And
I
there's
agree.
just so much, the world is so exciting. And there's if you haven't tried a museum in 30 years, maybe there's a new museum or these pop-up museums just to try again. Or maybe maybe there's a specific exhibit, or just there's so many things have changed. So just because you didn't like something 20 years ago, that old version of it may not even be what is going on today. So I think that there's so much that we could really tune into what is.
Absolutely. I agree with you completely, because I think this is so important. And it's not only for those who've retired. I think it applies to all of us. It doesn't matter whether we're still working full time or whether we fully retired and not working at all. Opportunities are there, and it's a case of being open to looking at them and seeing what's right for you. Well, some of it may not be right for you, and it's not the thing for you, but there could be something that could be really fantastic for you, and something you had never thought of about before or experienced before.
And I think that when we stay in our comfort zone, our life is just as big as our comfort zone, but we can stretch our comfort zone and get more things in our comfort zone. Try things that are like on the outside, on the stretch zone. And then eventually your comfort zone stretches and you have more things in your life. You don't have to only keep to what we know, but the world is changing, and for good. I mean, and there's so many new things that I think that we ought to take advantage. And yes, it's not only for people in retirement. I think that when we get to midlife and our kids are out of the house and we're not yet retired, we may have more time, or we may be just looking for something else to do. And
Yeah.
I think really, really tuning in and asking our friends what they're up to, or yes, maybe there is some benefit to scrolling just to see what other Instagram or Facebook, just to see what ideas are out there and see maybe what we can do, and then stop scrolling and get a few ideas. And because scrolling is not one of the things that you ought to do just to fill time.
Social media is great up to a point. And it really is up to a point, like to get information, to understand, to be in contact with certain people who don't have it any other way, you can't get hold of them any other way. It's great. But to just be on social media 24/7 is not healthy, and it's not good for you. So, it's good to unplug at times and to find other things to do. And that's all part of self-care, which I'm passionate about, and I always incorporate that into my coaching, and that to say that we need to unplug and get away from the computers and away from the cell phones and all the different forms of social media, and really explore what's out there and what's going on in the world around us and everything like that. And also when we expand when we get out of our comfort zone, we are looking at growth within inside ourselves, which is very, very important. And, and this is where a lot of people are scared of, well, where's this going to take me? But if you're just open to it and you allow the growth to happen, you'll be amazed how much you can achieve. So
the other thing I feel about trying new things is that you have new things to talk about in conversation. If you stay home and you just do the same thing, then you have not much to talk about except for the discourteous customer ahead of you in the bank. But if you do this amazing hike, or you saw this in the museum, or you listened to this lecture, or you tried this new hobby, or you tried this new restaurant, or you tried this, you have all these things that you can talk about. And I think that if nothing else, for that reason alone, to just be more interesting conversation is a reason to try new things.
Yeah.
And of course, you could talk about the book you read just as much as you can talk about other things. But I think that trying new things just has all these other benefits. So I think that I'm going to push for that again. I'm going to really encourage people. And then when I talk to people, I always encourage them to try new things. It doesn't have to be huge new things, but something new every day. It could be something tiny, like adding cocoa nibs to your yogurt.
Correct.
Healthy choice.
Or it could be journaling for the first time if you've never done that before, and seeing where that leads. It could be anything like that, or it could be getting out of the house, as we both discussed, and saying, meeting new people and getting into different kinds of social circles and situations. I think either way, it's great, and you, as I say, you're expanding your horizons, you're opening your world, and you are growing as a person, which is so important. And this is also which brings me back to how people feel when they have retired for a year and all of a sudden have got nothing going on in their lives and are feeling depressed because they don't hear from their kids and they've got nothing to do and you know they feel down and miserable about themselves. And when you, as you say, try something new and try something different and challenge yourself and grow and expand, um, there's so much out there that you can do and feel good about yourself.
And there's
And
two
this is,
types of try new. I think there's the try new something, at least something new every day, like whether it's a new food or like, and maybe you'll continue it or not, but at least try something new. Uh, and then there's try something new, like a new hobby. And if it didn't work well the first time, give it some time, whether depending, of course, what it is, but like 3 weeks or like if you went to a museum once and you didn't like that museum, don't give up on museums. Like give it a few shots. So there's like the two different things that are like could be your next new interest. So give
yeah,
that expanded amount of time, but try something new every day and think. I mean, I have fun thinking about what the new things I'm going to do for the week. So adding cinnamon to my coffee was something I started at the beginning of the week, and that was actually pretty interesting. And then I just leave the cinnamon stick in my cup, and I just keep adding water to it, so then I have cinnamon water. Cinnamon is healthy, and the flavor is interesting, and so that was one of the things for this week. But really, there's so many things. I decided I'm going to walk on a different route this morning so that I could see, whatever she put in her garden. It's just something new and different, like actually proactively thinking about what's that new thing that I'm going to do today.
wow. I think it's beautiful when you put it that way, but also, and as I say, it really, but coming up with the idea of what am I going to do this week? What 5 things am I going to do this week? Or 7 things I'm going to do this week? It's also you taking action, okay? Because very often we don't lead our lives with intention. We just allow things to happen every day in the day-to-day things. But when we take action and we say, okay, fine, I'm going to do this. I'm going to fold my laundry differently. I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to go and join that coffee club, whatever it may be. And doing something different each day is also giving you a plan of what am I going to do for the week. So it's one little thing in the rest of the week that I'm going to do, but it's making it more interesting for me and it's empowering them to take more control of their lives instead of just allowing things to control us, which is a very, very important part of it.
So one thing I did a while ago, I actually stopped, maybe I'll pick it up again, is the word of the day and just like reading a new word and seeing like where I can incorporate that into my life. Like I love words, so I do that. But some words, so there I was on some subscriptions for new words. Some of them are better than others. But just, that's a new word. Does that, where can I fit that into my life? Or does it not fit into my life? Or, why did they choose that word? But that's why some of them are better than others when they have actually words that are inspiring or like thought provoking rather than just the dictionary just spew out a word. But I think even things like that, just like proactively stretching ourselves, especially because if we're not working as much, work may have been stimulating or not. But if it was stimulating and now there's less things that are stimulating, we have to find those things or put them back into our life in different ways.
Definitely, definitely, we have to. And it's important to see how you do it. You talk about words. I have a woman that I follow, which I've followed for many years, who's amazing, and she talks about words that you shouldn't use. Like things like I can't, and I have to, and I must, and I should, all those kind of words. But if you think about it, it comes with a very, very negative connotation. So how can I change that around? Instead of saying I must do it, it's saying I want to do that. Okay. Right. Or I'm grateful that I had the opportunity to go and babysit my grandchildren. I have to go and babysit my grandchildren again. It's just changing the way we word it, and it changes the way we perceive things, and changes the energy around that particular task or whatever it is that we're discussing. So It's fantastic. I mean, if you ever want to look
I
that up,
love
and
that. I love that idea. Actually, in the past, I did that. I had a weekly thing of the word of the week, words to use or words to avoid. But I think I'm going to start sending them out again in the Facebook group because I think that they're so powerful. It really frames things. So thank you for that idea. I'm
yeah,
going to do that.
this woman's name is Christy Whitman, and she, I actually got my certification through her, and she has a thing called, I think it's 30 days, 30 words that you should not use. And you can find it probably on her website. And it's amazing because then you think about it, and instead of saying, but I have to, or but
Right.
what can I do? And I can, or and, you know, so
Right.
change the way we see things and the way we think.
So I
So
love that. I'm curious to see her words because I have like, I think 90 words to use or words not to use. So I'm just really curious to see.
don't have a look. It's amazing. The 30 words that she talks about, and I've heard it many times, and I still go back and I watch it, and she's got the little videos where she talks about one word, and it's literally a minute. You know,
So I'm going to share I'm really excited. I'm going to share mine. That's going to be one of my new things. But yeah, that's the other thing about new things is it has to fit into our life. Not just like I'm going to do that, but like where does it going to fit? But I'm going to have to. But I want to do that soon because I think that it is powerful. So thank you for that idea.
yeah, it's also very empowering because it makes you think, okay, how am I talking, and what am I saying, and oh, I mustn't use that word. So how can I twist it around and change it into a positive?
Right.
Instead of like being negative, you turn it into a positive.
I
It's
love. So
fabulous.
Michelle, we can talk for hours. I so enjoy our conversations. How can people reach you, and where are you located?
I'm located in Israel. I do my coaching online as well. And people can reach out to me by looking me up on I've got a website called Michelle Freedman Coaching, and or otherwise on my Facebook page or LinkedIn. And I do have this group called Steel Sisters, and I'd love new people to join us. So they can look up Steel Sisters on Facebook, and we're there. Lots of different speakers, lots of different activities. So, and I'd love to hear from everybody.
All right. Thank you so much, Michelle. It was lovely again to talk
Thank
to
you,
you.
Laura. This was fabulous. I really enjoyed it, and love to be in touch again soon.
We will. We will. Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you. Take care.
Right. Thank you for joining me in another fascinating conversation about midlife. If you'd like to reach me, Devora Kresniansky, to talk about your midlife or anything else, you can reach me at jewishmidlife@gmail.com and follow us at Jewish Midlife on Instagram and Facebook, and join us in our conversations in our Facebook group at facebook.com/group/Jewish Women Talk About Midlife.